在听 podcast 的你，相信你每天都在收发 email， 那平常的 greetings、closing 应该也差不多都定型了吧？其实 email 的好坏你应该非常的清楚，但是要如何从好到更好呢？ Hello， 欢迎来到商业英语 Career Plus 的 podcast， 在这边我们利用多年国际职场与教学经验，带给大家最真实与贴切的职场英语知识。Hi, I'm Sherry, founder of Executive Plus. As a language trainer and certified coach, I've trained hundreds of managers from Fortune 500 companies such as Dior, Google, and Deloitte & Touche.
And I'm Nick, Director of Communication Strategy at Presentality. I've helped startups raise millions of US dollars in funding and trained executives of publicly listed companies to present on the global stage. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Career Plus Podcast episode 31. This episode is all about taking your emails from good to great. Now, we believe everyone knows the basic formats of emails. You probably send out 20, 30 emails a week, if not more, and that whole opening, body, conclusion game you've got down pat. But what happens if you want to take your emails to the next level? It's not about reformatting. It's about thinking about the details inside the email.
我相信你应该都非常了解这种基本的 email 的 structure。那我们今天这个单元只想跟大家分享一下你要怎么样更提升你的 email。 那因为我觉得有很多人已经知道了基本的语言啊，或者是比如说你要怎么 open， 你要怎么 close， 它可能会看起来比较制式，或者你可能上网去 Google 一下就发现这个 opening 不错，这个 closing 不错，你就 copy and paste。 那其实如果这样子做的话，久了其实会少了一些你特别的你的 personality 在里面，那它也会变得是没有办法一直到达那种 from good to great。 那我们今天就是来分享一些我们的 tips and tricks.
So the tips and tricks we want to share are how to pay attention to your own voice and the tone of the email.We're also going to talk about how to be more clear. Emails are something we get hundreds by the day, so people don't want to spend time digging through. How do you make it clear what's going on? Also, how should your conclusion and the why of your email show up? Finally, we're going to have a little more fun and talk about how to make your subject lines a little more catchy or personal so people feel motivated to open them as opposed to, filter that out to spam.
所以我们今天要讲到4点。那第一个就是你的 voice 跟 tone， 就是语气语调还有你的本身的这个 voice。 那这个是常常非常多人不会去想到的，所以我们等一下会提到这个。那再来呢，我们会讲到就是你如何让你的 email 更清楚，那让你的重点更清楚的跟陈述。那最后呢，我们会讲到了 subject line， 那如何让你的 subject line 让人想要马上点阅进去，因为其实现在大家的专注力都越来越短了，所以我们要如何让我们 subject line 变得比较 catchy 跟 personal. Alright, so let's start with the first one, which is the voice and the tone.
Right. Now, we're going to define voice and tone a little more specifically, and that voice is more like your personality, who you are.And anytime you write an email, it's a really great time to put your personality into an email so that even someone like a client who you don't see that often, especially the past year, the trade shows or the opportunities that you get to meet them are a little bit less. So you still need to create a relationship with this person. Your personality should come through. You can really build a connection.
所以其实有你的 voice 就代表你的个性。那你可以这个时候代表你自己的个性。那如果你是像主管的话，那可能你要怎么样去 manage 你的 staff， 或者是你要怎么样去跟你的 clients 去联系感情，或者如果你是一家公司，你的 email 要怎么去express 你们公司的 branding， 这些都是 voice， 都是你每一封 email 这个 voice 应该是很 consistent 的，因为这代表着就是你。
Right. Now, a lot of people will probably go, well, my emails don't have a voice. I just write the key ideas behind what I want to say, and I don't feel there's any difference. The easiest way to test this is just write an email and then actually ask one of your coworkers or a friend or someone to write the same email. You'll quickly realize that the way that your own voice comes through in an email is very different than other people. The best example I have of this is recently we had one of our designers write an email to a client, and we gave her some suggestions on ideas of how she should write the email to clarify a pretty serious issue. Now, our designer is a very polite, sweet, kind of young girl. And when she wrote the email, she used my tone of voice, which is far more authoritative, a bit older and mature. So as soon as you saw the email, you're like, it's very obvious this is not you. So the suggestion had to go is she had to go change it and not change the content, but make it sound more like her.
So I think it's this also has something to do with building your own brand through email writing, right?
Right.
Yeah. Now, when you find your voice, it's really important to also check your tone when it comes to different types of emails.
And tone is more along the lines of what's the feeling that you want to create on the other side? Is this a feeling of urgency? Are you trying to be polite? Are you trying to be authoritative? And how should they feel about this email, or how should they react to this email?
所以就是在这个 tone 的部分，也就是你的语气语调。那你比如说这个封 email 你想要比较陈述是比较你很有礼貌，还是你比较权威，或者是你比较温暖跟有 friendly， 像这样子的不同的 tone。因为当然我们随着 email 你本身的内容不同，你也会去 adjust 你的 tone.
Right. So let's give you a quick example of how that might come across in an email. Let's say that you have a report that needs to be given to you by 5 p.m. today. Someone might just write a basic email that sounds like this. Dear Emma, I need your report by 5 p.m. today, or I'll miss my deadline. Harry. Now, this comes across a bit cold or just very flat, and it doesn't give someone a sense of tone or a sense of voice. So let's say that actually you want to be a little bit more polite. In your personality, you tend to be a little more polite, have better manners, but you still need this by 5 o'clock. You might write an email that sounds more like this. Hi, Emma. Thanks for all your hard work on the report. Could you please get your version over to me by 5 p.m. so that I can make my deadline? Thanks so much, Harry.
So it sounds a lot more cheery and more polite and more friendly.
Right. So this just comes across as someone who is a little warmer. They appreciate the hard work, but they do have a deadline to get by. Now, Emma will probably receive this and be a little less angry than we're just like, I need the report by 5 p.m. later today. So what happens if we wanted to do this with a little bit more authority? We're not going to be rude. This is not a dictatorship of you owe me a report. Now get it done, little peon lady. It's more along the lines of you want to show them that this is a very serious matter, and their ability to get it in by deadline is important to you.
All right. So authoritative and important to get by the deadline, right?
Right.
Okay. So I would say, hi, Emma. I appreciate the hard work on the report. However, we do have a strict deadline of 5 p.m., so please send it over as soon as possible. We need to make sure things make it on time. Thank you in advance, Harry.
So this is still polite. You're not, dictating what they should do, but you're making it very clear that this is a serious issue and it needs to be hit by deadline.
Okay, so let's talk about the second tips and tricks that we wanted to cover, which is clarity.
Right. Clarity is something we cover all the time. And clarity comes down to a few key points. Number one, keep everything short. You always talk about KISS, keep it simple, stupid, which just means if you have something to say, just say it outright. The other half of that is also you can use numbers to your advantage. Numbers as in bullet pointing 1, 2, 3, but numbers in also just telling someone there are 4 points that I want to make to you.
Yeah, 所以我觉得第一个当我们要 非常清楚去表达我们想要讲的一些重点的话，第一，当然我觉得可以试着去利用 number， 也就是我们的数字。那在我们 bullet point 的时候，我们其实就可以用数字，因为你可以马上让人家知道说，接下来有几点他必须要注意的。或者呢，那还有另外一个 point 就是说，当我们要用数字或者是 bullet point 的时候，我觉得最好是用在4个以下 right? Under 4
Under 4. If you're sending out an email that has like 10 key points, either one, you need to schedule a meeting with this, or two, this needs to be broken down into several different points. One thing that drives me a bit crazy is when someone wants to talk about like 4 different topics and they put them all in an email. It's not that one time this costs me a lot of time to read through, but it's also in the future, if I want to go find this information and I'm sorting through my email, what am I supposed to be looking for, right? If it's like every discussion topic is in one email thread, it's a bit hard to go back and go, okay, deadlines for project A versus planning for project B versus who needs to be on project C are all the same email thread. It becomes very hard to go back and find information.
Yeah, and it's really hard to keep track of exactly what's been discussed and not, right?
Right. So it's better to, if you find yourself just piling up all these points, it sounds weird, but actually send out different emails so that these discussions can stay in the right place, or set a actual meeting time with the person because you clearly have a lot to talk about.
那在录 podcast 之前，我有跟 Nick 有谈过，就是我发现有蛮多学生在写 email 的时候，他们对于这种 paragraph， 就是这种一段一段的这种分段法不是非常的清楚，所以我在这边顺道跟大家讲一下，就是我们在一段的 one paragraph， 我们在 email 当中最多要 3 sentences, right?
Right. In academic writing, you might go 4 to 7 sentences per paragraph. But remember, in email, most people read an email on their phone. So if you have more than 3 sentences in a paragraph, it's just a wall of words that cover the entire screen. And most people will just immediately give up on that email.
对，所以当你在一段讲完3句最多一个 idea 分成一段，然后3句最多讲完之后，请大家一定要 space， 然后再分成另外一段，因为你如果你的visually 越简洁，其实会越让人家觉得说OK， 他们很容易就可以去吸收这些 information.
Right. So in a perfect world, your email format should just like this. Your opening, Dear Sherry. And then your first sentence should be how many points are in that email. There are 3 things that I want to cover in our meeting next Friday. Then point 1, 2 sentences. Point 2, 3 sentences. Point 3, 2 sentences, conclusion. Like that should be the whole email.
Alright, so the next one 的下一点呢，也是我觉得常常会发现有很多，其实他平常已经在做 email 了，常常在送发一些 email， 但是呢，他们还是不是很确定，就是当你在写 email 的时候，我们不是在写文章 ，we're not writing a whole paper.
Right, exactly. If you need to write a whole paper, again, have a meeting or send them an attached document. Please don't write in your email.
Yeah, 所以我们不是在写文章，所以呢，我们当在写 email 的时候，你的 conclusion， 你的总结一定是先放在前面。
Right. The whole point of the email or the conclusion or the action that you want someone to take should be right up front. Again, emails are supposed to be a speedy or a fast way to transfer information. So you just open that. There's 3 things I want to talk to you about in the email. And most importantly is I need a decision by this date. That should be up front.
So if you want to explain why you want this action to happen, then you can explain after you've made the conclusion very clear.
Right. So don't go into story and detail and context and then at the very bottom of the email, because most people won't get that far. Again, we have so many decisions that we need to make a day. We need so many emails that we need to read a day. So having one more thing that I have to get all the context before making a decision will get put farther down on the priority list. So just be upfront. That way someone can go, all right, I can handle this right now, or I can wait on it, that kind of thing.
那最后一点呢，其实我觉得这个蛮有趣的，也就是我们的 subject line。那我相信你们在听 podcast 的各位，可能你已经是主管，或者是你还是必须要常写信给上司，那你已经知道说，在 subject line 我们要很清楚的表示，比如说，我们要开个会，那我们就写meeting on December 22nd， 类似像这样很清楚的 subject line。那我如何再把它变成更好呢？也就是 how do you make subject line to be catchier and more personal?
Right. We're going to take a page out of marketing. So a lot of times you might assume that it's clickbait, like the top 10 reasons why you should join our meeting. You don't need to go that far, but you need to get someone's attention. And one thing we can pull from the last topic is numbers. Numbers are a great way to do that. Like 3 things you need to prepare before our meeting.
Or, one more thing about the meeting, or 2 ways to have wonderful holiday.
Right. Or, hey, there will be snacks at this meeting on Friday.
Yeah.
Now, if that's true, but that might someone be like, yeah, I want snacks.
Yeah, absolutely. 所以其实我们为什么我想要聊一下这个 subject line， 因为我发现其实大家现在收 email 真的是非常多，那大家的事情也非常的多，尤其是在年底的时候，我相信每个人都非常的忙碌，所以你有很多 email 要打开。那如果你的 email 是很重要的，你希望你上司马上就打开这封 email， 或者你客户马上打开这封 email， 那这个就是 it's your job to make it catchier and more personal.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you just send everyone like holiday wishes from Presentality and Executive Plus, they've got 100 emails to say, holiday wishes from, holiday wishes from. So just throwing out something a little more personal, like, I wish you the best, Sherry, on this, cold holiday weekend or something like that.
那比如说如果你想要提醒你的客户他还有一个 payment 还没有付钱我觉得这个是还蛮 that happens, at the end of the year you do want to make sure that you close all your books, right?
Yeah, and everyone's busy at this time, so it's usually not on purpose, but they have 100 things to close out the year, so sending them that email that doesn't sound, why didn't you pay me? No one wants to email that, open that email, but it's like one friendly reminder before the holidays.
Yeah, 我觉得那这个也是因为我之前在一个教课的时候，这学生他给我的我们一起create 的这个 idea， 我觉得还不错，就是 like what Nick said, one friendly reminder before the holiday, or one thing to remind you before the holiday. 我觉得这种东西，我相信你的客户应该会马上还是会赶快点进去。
Yeah, as opposed to, having one more stress point.
No, like if you just put outstanding payment.
They're like, outstanding for another week. Ignore.
Exactly. So, 我觉得就是这个时候我们就可以再 creative 一点，然后把它变成 catchier or more personal. 而且我觉得要去利用这个 number 这个因为这个其实是一个心理学 psychology. I think it's brought by Daniel Pink, right? We talked about him last time. 那他也说其实这个是一个 psychology. There's some studies done that people they're just more they're more in tune with numbers. When they see numbers, they want to see exactly what's in that email or content.
Right. And when you're asking someone to do something for you, making it feel like it's just not very much. Just like one thing I need to do. If you're like 10 things I need to do, that's very stress-inducing, right? But by using a number to your advantage, just like one friendly reminder or one quick request, then it makes someone sound like, oh, okay, just one thing. I only need to do one thing. It's much easier.
所以也要注意我们也不要用太多 1, 2, 3 That's it.
Right.
All right, so I really hope you guys learned a lot today, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. 如果你喜欢我们的 podcast, 欢迎来追踪我们的主管英文 Executive Plus 的 Facebook. 那也可以写信到我们的信箱 yourcareerplus@gmail.com.